In this video we're gonna create player max health. Okay, we're gonna assign player max and max health. Okay, and whenever we collide with enemy, okay, we're gonna take damage. So without furthering delay, let's dive into. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna define player max health. Okay, so we need to open up the player script. So open up the player script in Visual Studio. Okay, we will create max health. Okay, we will assign player max health. So uh, so what we gonna do, go to top of the class, and we're gonna make it public so we can see in the inspector. It will be integer. Okay, 1 2 3 4, the whole numbers. Okay, and we're gonna call it max health. We're gonna call it max health. Okay, by default you can set any value, like I'm going to set it to 5 unit. Okay, 5 unit, and we also have to make the take damage function. Okay, so control s on your keyboard and head over to Unity. You will able to see the player max health field will appear. Okay, we made that public, so that's why we will able to see the max health in the inspector player script. Okay, we can adjust the value as much as we can, like 10 unit, 20 units. Okay, it's up to you. It's up to you. Okay, just wait for to compile. Okay, just wait for to compile. Whenever we collide with player, okay, sorry, whenever we collide with enemy, we're gonna subtract 1 unit max health from this player. Okay, so as you can see, max health parameter by default we set it to 5 unit. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna check if we so we have, if we head over to once again Visual Studio. Okay, as you can see, on collision inter 2D function get called whenever we collide with something. Okay, whenever we collide with something, this function get trigger. If you haven't created this function, okay, just type void on collision inter 2D as same as it is. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna check. Okay, we're gonna check if other firstly we need to assign the enemy as a enemy tag. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over to, okay, select that enemy, go to inspector. You can see tag which is untag. We need to tag that, add tag. Okay, add tag, and we're gonna call it enemy. Okay, we're gonna call it enemy, and then save it, and head over to again to that enemy and assign that tag to enemy tag. Now we have assigned that our enemy as a enemy tag. So we also need to overwrite then apply all to save changes in the prefab as well, and head over to again to script. So what we're gonna do, whenever we collide with something, this function get trigger. Okay, on collision inter function get trigger. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna check. Okay, if other, okay, if other dot collider, okay, dot tag is, if it's equals to enemy, basically we are checking. Okay, so enemy. So what we are doing over here, whenever we collide with something, this function on collision inter 2D function get called trigger. And we are checking if the whatever we collided with, if the game object has tag enemy. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna subtract 1 unit from our max health. Okay, so firstly what we're gonna do, if it's working or not, so we're gonna print out a message on the console. So we have to type debug.log. Okay, and we will say something like, in quotation we will say player takes something like that, player takes damage. Okay, player takes damage. So and end up with semicolon and control as on your keyboard and head over to Unity. You will able to see whenever we collide with our enemy. Okay, enemy, that function will get trigger on collision inter 2D function. Okay, because we assign it our enemy as a enemy tag, and if we check and we are checking if the we whatever we colliding with, if that game object has tag enemy tag, so we will print out that message in the console. If you can find the console, you just have to go to window. Okay, window, then general, then console, or control shift plus C. Okay, and then hit play. And if we collide with this enemy, okay, enemy, we will that message will print out in the console, player takes 1 damage. Okay, so just wait, we're gonna test it. Okay, just wait. And if we go if we, as you can see, player takes damage whenever we collide with this enemy. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna subtract 1 unit from our max health. Okay, player max health. So what we're gonna do, go over to player script once again. Over here, as you can see, we assign it our max health by 5 units. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna subtract by, we're not gonna print out a message, we're gonna subtract max health 1 unit from max health. So what we're gonna do, max health, okay, max health minus equal 1. Okay, minus equal 1, or you can say max health minus minus. Okay, it also means that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, max health minus equal 1. Okay, control s. Okay, control s. So instead of do control s, okay, I will explain, we're gonna do it later. Okay, so just wait for to compile. Okay, just wait for to compile. Whenever we collide 5 times, we're gonna reach the max health 0. Okay, whenever we reach the max health 0, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna destroy the player game object. Okay, so we need to keep track how many max health we how many health we have. Okay, whenever we colliding with the enemy, we're gonna subtract 1 unit max health from our max health. Okay, 1 unit. So if we hit play, we will able to see that. Okay, we will able to see that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a die function. Okay, firstly we're gonna create a take damage function. Okay, so if I collide with, as you can see, it's just flipping like that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna firstly freeze the rotation in the z axis. If I select the rotator, okay, if I, as you can see, it will like flip like this. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to go to rigid body. Okay, and we're gonna constrain, and then we're gonna freeze the rotation about z axis. Okay, now it won't get flipped like that. Okay, and overrides, and then apply all to change in the prefab as well. Okay, and hit play once again. If we collide with our enemy, so we will subtract max health 1 unit from max health. Okay, whenever we reach 0, we're gonna create a die function. Okay, so if I, as you can see, max health became 3, firstly 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, and then, as you can see, if I collide 1 1 and then -1. Okay, it's lesser than 0. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a take damage function first. Okay, take damage function first. So what we're gonna go over here, we have to make it public. Okay, we're gonna call that function from another class, that's why we gonna make it public. So we have to type this. Okay, public, then void, we have to type void for function, and we have to name the function. We're gonna call it take damage. Okay, we're gonna call it take damage, and into parameter we're gonna pass an integer value. Okay, we will call that damage. Okay, we will replace, by the way, later. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna subtract from max health. Okay, minus equal damage. Okay, so basically what we are doing, we're gonna replace by this damage by 1. Okay, so our max health is 5, so 1 minus 5 minus 1, which become 4. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna call this function over here whenever we collide with enemy. Okay, enemy game object, we're gonna call this take damage function. Okay, take damage function. Okay, take damage function, and we have to pass the argument. We will pass 1, so the we are replacing this damage by 1, as you can see. So what we are doing, on collision inter 2D function get call whenever we collide with something. Okay, and we are checking if the collider has tag enemy tag. So what we are doing, we are calling this take damage function, and take damage function, what it will do, it will subtract from our max health by 1 unit. Okay, 1 unit. So as we know, our max health is it's 5, as you can see. So 5 minus 1 will become 4, and if we call this again, so 4 minus 1 will be 3. If we call this one more again, so 3 minus 1 becomes 2. If we call one more time, so 2 minus 1 becomes 1, and one time it will hit 0. Okay, one time it will hit 0. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna check if max health, okay, if max health is lesser than or equal to 0, okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna return. Basically it means, okay, whenever we reach the max health 0, okay, let's suppose our max health was 1, okay, our max health is 1. If we call this function, so 1 minus 1, okay, damage is 1, as we know, we pass the argument 1, so 1 minus 1 becomes 0. So again if we calling this message, this function, okay, 0 minus 1, so it will go to negative value, as you seen in the inspector -1. So what we are doing, we are returning. Return basically means after return it, this line won't get call, okay, if we reach the max health 0, okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna calling this function, okay. If we control s on your keyboard and head over to unity, you will able to see that change, okay, you will able to see that change. Okay, if we head over to again that, so whenever we collide with our enemy, we are calling this take damage function, and take damage function subtracting by 1 unit from our max health. So whenever we reach 0, or whenever our max health is 0, we are returning. Basically this line won't get called, so it won't get means, if we, let's suppose we hit 0, so 0 minus 1 will be -1, but it won't happen because we are returning big. After return it, this line won't get called, okay. Control s and head over to unity, you will see, you will able to see the max health will stack at the 0, okay. It won't, the take damage function won't get called when we reach the max health 0, okay. So if we play, okay, if we play, if we just collide with our uh, one time, just one time, as you can see it's stuck whenever we colliding, this not getting my subtracting, okay, we are stuck in the 0 because we are returning, okay, from that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a die function, okay. We gonna create a die function whenever we max health, whenever the max health reach 0, we're gonna call the die function, okay. So we have to type this firstly void, and we have to name the function, we're gonna call it die, okay. So what we're gonna do, we have to make first bracket and then this second brackets, okay. And we're gonna call, we're gonna print out message something like player diet, something like that, okay. Player diet, something like that, okay. Player diet, okay. So what we're gonna do, over here as you can see, whenever we reach max health, we just returning. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna call this function, okay, in update function, okay, because update function get called every time, and we need to check every time if the max health is lesser than or equal to 0, okay. So we need to check each frame, so we need to do it update function, okay. We need to check each frame. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go on the top and we're gonna check, okay, if our max health, okay, if our max health is lesser than or equal to 0, means we don't have any, we don't have any health, okay. Whenever we reach 0 over here, as we know, we are calling this take damage function, okay. Whenever take damage function get called, we subtracting by 1 unit, okay, 1 unit from our max health. As you can see, we are calling the take damage function, okay. So we are, when we reach 0, okay, when we reach 0, what we're gonna do, we're gonna call the die function, okay. And die function will print out this message on the console, okay. This message on the console which will say player diet, okay. So we need to call the function when we reach the max health 0. So we are doing an update function because update function get call every single frame, and we need to check every single frame if we reach max health 0 or not. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna call the function, okay. We're gonna call the function, and control s on your keyboard to save this and head over to unity. You will able to see when our max health is 0, the player diet message will print out on the console, okay. It will call multiple times because we are doing update function, and update function call every single frame, like it pass 60 frame in 1 second, so it will call 60 time in 1 second, okay. So if we play, whenever we reach the max health 0, we're gonna calling that die function, and and type function will print out the message in the console. Okay, as you can see. Okay, and whenever we colliding with enemy, we are calling this take damage function. Okay, and take damage function subtracting by 1 unit from our max health. As you can see, max health minus equal damage. Okay, now if we clear the console, if we collide with 5 times with enemy, we will able to see our max health will go to 0. Okay, one time, two time, three time, and one time. Okay, as you can see player diet in the console. So player diet in the console, as you can see, it's calling over again and again. So that is for this video. In the next video we will destroy enemy, or and the player, we will make the player health in the UI. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy it, okay, share this video with your friends who just want to learn Unity game engine. Okay, and if you want to support me, you can support me on patreon.com. And if you are new to my channel, then subscribe it for future tutorials. And lastly, thanks for watching this video. Okay, and goodbye. Okay.